The Arch Linux community over on Discord is voting right now. They have a vote going on right now on whether or not to completely ban any and all links to X, to Elon Musk's super evil social media platform. It's crazy that this is really looking like it's going to happen. They really are voting on this. And as of a couple hours ago, it was at 65+% of the respondents. And there's over 2,000 votes so far saying, yeah, we should ban any links to X. So people wouldn't be able to post a link to an X Twitter post in the Arch Linux community over there on Discord. And what prompted this was Debian. Because just 2 days ago, 3 days ago, Debian Linux, right, the granddaddy of Linux distributions, they doubled down on their wokeness, right? They've been doing some woke stuff for a while. They had some internship programs they were doing where they specifically exclude white men or Chinese men, or Asian men. It's just weird stuff, weird, random, racist, sexist stuff. But they doubled down on it after, of course, the presidential election happened. They doubled down on their wokeness by saying, we simply cannot be on X anymore. Elon Musk's platform is just too scary to be on. And they cited reasons like diversity and gender identity. They can't be on X because of gender identity or things like that, or fake news. They had a laundry list of reasons, and they were all a little bit weird. And when they made that announcement, people responded in a big way. And it was a lot of people saying things like, well, guess I'm not going to use Debian anymore. Or, and I'm quoting a lot of people here, I guess I'll just use Arch then. A whole lot of people saw what Debian was doing and said, woo, thank heavens, Arch isn't so woke. Well, the folks over in the Arch community just said, hold my beer. And they decided to do the exact same thing. Please vote, they say, in the poll above. If you don't have much of an opinion on the topic, please ignore this announcement. All discussion of the poll must go in the ban all links to X/Twitter thread. Now, this ban all links to X-Twitter thread, I wanted to read this. So I created an account over in the Arch Linux Discord server. I didn't have one. So I'm like, I'm going to create one. So I went and head over there. And as soon as you try to sign up for it, the very first question they ask you is, what are your preferred pronouns? I'm not kidding. If anyone was out there thinking, oh man, yeah, at least Arch Linux ain't woke. In order to sign up for the Discord server, which has almost 20,000 Arch users in it, because Arch is popular. You have to tell them what pronouns you are, whether it's they, them, or he, him, or it's, or whether it's some other pronouns or something like that. You have to do that, and you have to agree to the Arch Linux Code of Conduct. Anytime there's a code of conduct, it makes me, red flags just go up. My eyebrows are raised. But once you're in, then you can go read some things. And I decided to hop right over and read that thread, that ban all links to X/Twitter thread. The initial thread statement is as thus. Given this server's steadfast support of human rights and dignity, I feel like the Arch Linux community should take the lead against Nazism, bigotry, and oppression. Free and open source communities simply cannot coexist with Nazis. And then there was just a nonstop flood of people yelling back and forth. Elon Musk is a threat to people like me, and loads of other people are already flocking to platforms that better yet endorse open source values, and on and on and on and on. And of course, that where was that poll at? We're at it was over 65% last I checked, which was a couple of hours ago, to say yes, let's ban all links to X and Twitter. So within a couple of days, they'll be making this announcement that they're going to be banning all links to X and Twitter, and I guess they're hoping that's going to go over well and earn them virtue signally brownie points, I guess. Now, what's really crazy is they're not just voting to ban the links, they're censoring anyone who dissents, right? Now, people all over their Discord server, some of them are casually dissenting. Some of them are like, I don't think that's a great idea. Those people seem to be allowed to continue to speak, as long as they don't get too uppity. As long as they don't get in there and object too much. But several people have contacted me now that have been completely banned because they raised concerns about this. Here's one message I got, and I'm keeping this person's name off of here because I don't want this person to get yelled at too intensely. Hello, Brian. I just had the most ridiculous experience on the Arch Linux Discord, and I figured you'd appreciate the absurdity of it. Someone in the server suggested banning Meta because they allowed people to call LGBTQ plus individuals mentally ill. I went and checked on this, and yeah, the let's ban links to X devolved into let's ban Meta as well, but then it got back on track, focusing on Elon. I continue. I pointed out the importance of free speech and that you should be able to call anyone mentally ill if you want, and I was instantly banned. Apparently, the Arch Linux community is now enforcing leftist ideology, like a full-blown Orwellian thought police. They don't, sorry, this is ridiculous. They don't hesitate to shut down anything that doesn't fit their narrative. I know you've covered similar topics before, just thought you'd find some humor in how pathetic these moderators are. Anyway, keep doing what you're doing. I really appreciate your journalism. Cheers. Well, thank you very much. I went in and checked, and yes, he did in fact get deleted. He did get censored. In fact, a flood of people were getting banned just non-stop over there in the Arch Linux community for raising these issues. And most of the time their posts were being deleted as well. A lot of them were being deleted or recommending for deleted by multiple people who had a combination, and this is a very real and very weird thing, of cartoon avatars, usually of animals that were like anthropomorphic, combined with communist logos. I'm showing one on the screen right there. This particular one is the person that recommended that the person who just contacted me get banned. And there was just a lot of that. It was a real distinct community. And I'm like, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. These literally are people who are communists. And they identify as communists. They put the hammer and sickle in everything they do. It's a combination of the hammer and sickle, the trans flag, and anthropomorphic cartoon anime style sexualized animals. Those things all smashed together seems to be a lot of what's running the Arch Linux community. It's what it looks like. If anyone running Arch would like to disagree with that, contact me, but it's what it looks like. And it's not just this particular Discord server. The same story got posted. Hey, what happened here over on the Arch Linux subreddit over on Reddit? And immediately the post was removed and censored because you're not allowed to talk about this. You're not allowed to talk about censorship of people by the Arch Linux moderators. You're not allowed to talk about dissenting viewpoints in Arch Linux. You have to toe the pro-trans, anti-conservative, pro-Marxist line. Otherwise, you are banned and censored. And I'm not saying that to be over the top. That literally does seem to be it. If you are pro-trans and pro-Marxism, you're not going to get censored by the Arch Linux communities. If you are against Marxism and even if you just casually, like minorly, like you dip your toes into the I don't know if I like Marxism pool a little bit, say, hey, maybe we shouldn't be too Marxist, banned. That's what it looks like to me. Based on everyone who's contacted me, based on the chat logs I was able to look at and the logs of people getting banned and censored, that's exactly what it looked like was happening. And this all is stemming from what Debian did. And lots of people in the Arch Linux chat, I mean, again, it was thousands of messages. I went through a tiny fraction of them. I'm sure there's lots of more stuff in there worth looking at, but it was just too much. It's just this constant flood of people talking about it, about how great Debian is for going hard woke, right? And they want to follow in those footsteps. And they're not the only Linux distribution that's kind of been going this way. That when they talk about Nazis, right? When the Arch Linux community says the word Nazis, they don't mean actual Nazis. They mean anyone who's not a communist, right? Over and over, they make that very clear. They identify as communist. They use the hammer and sickle, right? That's their thing. And they point to anyone who is not even just center and right, leftists who are not communists, right? And there's a lot of leftists that aren't communists. And they point to leftists who aren't communists and they say, well, those are Nazis. They point to centrists and right-leaning and conservative and libertarians. Those are Nazis. They're all Nazis. And Elon's a Nazi. And Elon's doing the Nazi salute. And they repeat these things over and over and over again. And it's all just nonsense mishegas, but they keep repeating it over and over and over again. We saw this with NixOS just this last summer. Last summer, the NixOS community, and another very, very prominent Linux distribution, started banning huge swaths of individuals, including longtime contributors, including their own founder. They banned their own founder and kicked him out because they wanted to commit a purge of Nazis. Their words. They actually called it the purge of Nazis. Now, were any of those people Nazis? Well, I talked to a bunch of them. They sure didn't seem like Nazis. Some of them seemed like Republicans. Some of them seemed like independent people that really weren't all that political. A few of them seemed just like straight up just run-of-the-mill average United States Democrats. But none of them were Nazis. Not at all. All of them were like not Nazis. They really didn't like Nazis. I asked them, I'm like, they say you're a Nazi. Are you a Nazi? Oh my gosh, no. They hate the Nazis. No one likes the Nazis, except, well, the Nazis like the Nazis. But these people were not Nazis. And this seems to be an ongoing, recurring thing that we're just seeing a nonstop flood of, is extraordinarily woke, DEI-focused organizations within the open source world that are going heavily towards the communist Marxist line and attacking anyone who's not towing that communist line as being a Nazi, right? And they're forcing people out. I mean, so many Linux distributions are doing it. OpenSUSE and Elementary and Asahi and NixOS and now Debian and Arch and on and on and on. It's ridiculous. We do have some little bright spots here and there. Open Mandriva, I've talked about that one a couple of times. They're kind of one of the nice non-woke distros out there. They're not political. They're not making political statements really at all. They're just saying that they're not woke, right? They focus on meritocracy, which is a good thing. And I'm noticing though, that as these Linux distributions come out and they come out with these hard woke, hard DEI, super racist, super sexist, just yuck stances like Debian, like what Arch is doing here, they don't seem to do well. Right? Things don't go well for them. I mean, we've seen that multiple times now, and we'll see as the days and weeks drag on how the Debian and Arch decisions of this week will bear out in the long run. But my guess is it probably won't go great. And yet for Open Mandriva, we're seeing good results from that, right? They're seeing growth and increased interest and excitement and happiness and joy and people really working on it. And it's awesome. And like even just the searches for them on all the search engines have just shot through the roof. And we're seeing the opposite for the super woke distros. I feel like there's a lesson in there. You know what I mean? There's a lesson that these project managers and moderators and the people in these communities, you'd think they would be learning. Maybe they don't want to learn it. Maybe they already have learned it and this was the goal. Maybe they want to be smaller. Maybe they want to drive people away and alienate users. Maybe. I don't know. But it truly, truly is crazy. Where's that poll again? Let me bring it right back up. It's a landslide. The vote to ban X Twitter links in the Arch Linux community Discord server is a landslide. And it's I don't think it's going to change. I think they're going to follow through with it. I mean, we'll see if they actually follow through with it in the days ahead and what the results are, but whew, bad move. Thank you to the supporters of the Lunduke Journal. Go to lunduke.com. Click on all the links there. There's a lot of them. You love links. You love links, and you love the links at lunduke.com the most. It's a beautiful webpage. It's probably the most beautiful webpage in human history because it's so friggin' simple and it renders on everything. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the universe and the inner tubes and all that stuff, I do declare end broadcast.